Today we're going to talk about Nico's recent trip to Victorville. Is that right?
Victorville.
And he met none other than the Young Bucks. And we're also going to talk about what happened at the latest NXT show. And, of course, new updates regarding with AEW. And, of course, our review with Destruction in Kobe by New Japan Pro Wrestling. So sit back and relax and welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
All right, so Nico,
What
how was the trip?
Oh, man. So I did 3 things that I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
1, I've never been to Victorville.
Of course.
2, I've never been to a Cracker Barrel.
Of course.
And 3, I have yet to meet the Young Bucks. Knocked all 3 of that in one try.
Yeah, I was so jealous. I wish I would have gone, but here's the thing. I had to work, and I was low on my income. I wish I would have gone, but at least someone actually did it.
Well, to tell the truth, the stars kind of aligned accidentally. I was like, day off? The trip was under $100. The meet and greet was free. All I'm really paying for is the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why not?
So, basically, you actually had something that you brought with you. The book.
Oh, yeah, the book. I got the book. And I actually read it.
Voila. A Young Buck book. And, of course, it's autographed by both Young Bucks. Right there.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm assuming you had a great time there.
I did. I told myself I wasn't gonna fan out, but I fanned out anyways, and didn't get to say or ask the things that I wanted to ask. I just told them, dude, thank you guys for making wrestling fun again, and they appreciated that. And all right, this might be speculation, but you guys know how Nick kind of accidentally spills the beans.
Of course.
Well, I was wearing my Villain Enterprise shirt, and he was like, "Oh, you got a Marty shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "You want to see Marty stay in ROH or go to AEW?" And I went, "Go to AEW?" And he just went, "Okay." And then me taking that, I was like, "He's so going to AEW. Come on. That's at least how I took it."
Yeah. Not only that, you also mentioned you talked to Brandon Cutler.
Oh, that's right, dude. I was able to talk to him. I was telling him about how I got to express to him at least how the reason why I'm so inspired by what you guys do is because me as a student of film, I want to do my thing without doing Hollywood. Kind of the same way with how they want to do their wrestling career without having to go to the machine known as WWE. So I kind of relate to their thing, and I hope that one day I would be able to be as successful as they are without having to bow down to the machine.
Yeah. So here's a little clips and pictures and all that he took over there. So here it is right now.
guys are definitely doing a new promotion, AEW, for the viewers. We're going to do this at our class. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yep.
And what's coming up?
It's a new wrestling league. It's been about 20 years that North America hasn't had a true alternative to pro wrestling, and we're here to deliver that. And it's been 20 years since there's been an actual crazy good pro wrestling channel that TNT has hosted. So we're going to be on TNT every Wednesday, and it's going to be great. Please tune in and watch us.
Well, Nico, I'm jealous that you went. And for that, that's what I get for not going.
There's going to be more. There will be more.
Yeah, I'm yet to meet them. I would like to shake hands, and I would like to ask them 2 questions. One, are we going to expect more surprises from them?
Well, of course.
That's 1. And 2, I forgot what was the other one. I want to ask them, would they ever consider doing like an annual tag team tournament like they do in New Japan?
Oh,
Because
they are.
Because that's what I like about they should continue the show. Who is the best tag team in this one year, and then the following year, and all this and that.
Ew.
But yeah, so hopefully I get to meet them. I really, and not to mention I would also want to meet Papa Buck.
Oh yeah, he's hella cool. Like, I met him. Well, he was the first one that I saw. Like, I recognized him right away. Like,
So, well, I'm glad you had a great time, and I know everybody out there probably saying they wish they could have gone. I felt the same way too, but just glad that you had a lot of fun. So,
cool.
we're gonna
food
keep...
is bomb too. Like, quick plug for Cracker Barrel. If you guys have never been to a Cracker Barrel, go to one. The food's good. This is coming from a chef. Magnifique.
Yeah, he's a chef, guys. For real. He's like, he can give you insights on certain areas he's ever eaten at. So, right now, let's continue on with the episode. Okay, so we just entered the second week of NXT. We have talked about it countless times. It came out strong last week,
Mm-hmm.
Great matches. I mean, I did like the opening, how they had the 4-way with the women's matchup for the number 1 contendership for the women's title. And then, of course, Roderick Strong winning the North American
Don't forget
title.
the squash match in between.
Yeah, that too. Now, I did not witness the NXT because I had technical difficulties at home. But I was able to catch some of the matches that happened. So, there was, of course, on my notes, what the matches that happened. There was Keith Lee defeated Dominic this show.
No, that was last week's. I thought
that's this week.
Oh no, this was this week's.
Yeah.
Oh, so you already did?
Yeah.
Last week's.
Yeah.
I'm behind.
Yeah,
My bad.
I'll catch him up. Then there's the return of Dakota Kai from ever since she was injured.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the number 1 contendership for the NXT title between Matt Riddle and Killian Dion, if I pronounce it right. But Matt Riddle won the match.
Dane.
And of course,
Killian Dane.
Oh yeah, Killian Dane. And you know who showed up after that match? Adam Cole,
Oh yeah,
baby.
Adam Cole.
He was telling him he'll never get the title. We always seen those type of matches before.
Yeah.
So it's like nothing new. Of course, Rhea Ripley defeated Kaden Carter. And I'm going to... Oh, yeah.
But all that was on the network.
Yeah. And, of course, I did see Kushida teamed up with the Fashion Police. Fandango.
I know
and
who they
Tonga.
are. Okay. So, I like the Fashion Police. Now, I love their Fashion Files bit. It's funny to me. It's a good spot, blah, blah, blah. But Fashion Police with Kushida, that hurts. How does Kushida go from being with the Motor City Machine Gun members to the Fashion Police?
I don't know. It's just... But yeah, but here's the interesting thing that happened. Now, the viewership that we know. This is the viewership from last week.
Mm-hmm.
It says first week, 1.17 million, from what I understood. I mean, not bad. Not bad for NXT. Now, this is this past week, this current week right now, this past Wednesday's viewers.
What happened?
It dropped 15%. It went from 1.06 million. So basically, from the estimate, they lost 173,000 viewers on this one. I mean, I don't know what happened. It was
Well,
like,
when you say it like that, it sounds a lot bigger than just saying 15%.
well, that's what they said. I got this information from Wrestling News. I'm like wondering.
Oh, this is from Wrestling News? This isn't from the WWE?
No, WWE would never talk this type of stuff ever. They never do. But there are other news people from the wrestling,
They like to inflate record attendance records.
of course. But I don't know what happened. I mean, I have to say, like, I don't know, because right now, this week and this last week, it was mostly an hour on the USA Network.
Yes.
You know, because right now they were still continuing on with the series Suits. I mean,
The series finale of the show Suits.
yeah. So basically, that's what happened, and the other half they only displayed it on the WWE Network. I mean, I don't know if that was a factor that may have caused it, because the thing is this: look, we can see WWE are desperate at this point, because we do know they're in competition with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So they know for a fact they are going up against them on the same day.
Right.
Now, was this their sign of desperation? Because they should have known better that this series was still going on right from the start. They could have at least waited maybe a week after AEW, because it would have been more of another factor for them on their part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, let them test it out on this week. See what happens. If it turns out like, okay, maybe not bad, let's show ours the following week. I mean, that's my opinion. I feel they could have done.
Okay.
Because the thing is this. If this, like I said, the Suits was still going on for the last 2 episodes of this series, they could have at least waited. But
Right.
of course, we all know that he's been recently desperate trying to win some fans back. The ones that no longer watch WWE anymore. You know, but I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, what do you think?
Well, on my way here, I was I just got done listening to Jim Cornette's podcast, and he was he brought up a moment that happened in last week's episode of NXT, the premiere, that there was a phantom bump involved with the referee, where there was an angle with Velveteen and Roderick Strong, and what he was saying was whenever the crowd would see a phantom bump like that, it would hurt the town, meaning that the hurting the town, it will hurt the show, and attendance records will go down the following show, and depending on how they remedied it, it would come back. And I didn't really think of that at all until you brought up the attendance records went down with I'm not attendance, the viewers went down 15% from the last 2 show, and there's a possibility that might be connected to it. And I was just like, well, God damn, Jim might be right again. Like,
Well, there's many ways we can see how it could go wrong.
yeah,
You know, I mean, we could say one thing and there's could be another, and then there's another.
right,
But whatever the scenarios, I can say it's all the above.
most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
But don't forget, next week is the day where things is gonna get real.
Oh yeah,
Because right now, not only the NXT will have the full 2 hours, but they will also be in competition on the very first episode and series and premiere of AEW's Dynamite.
and SmackDown on Fox on Friday.
Yeah. But I'm talking about NXT.
Oh well, I was in regards to the whole week.
Yeah.
That
But
whole
the
next
very
week,
same
yeah.
day. That's the thing that we need to get realized. Because
Yeah.
right now, we have 2 wrestling shows that will be head-to-head. And this will be like more who wins the night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I'm going to see what's going to happen. So, if you guys are probably wondering what I'm going to watch next week, that's the easiest question for me. I can DVR NXT. I want to see exactly what it's going to happen in AEW.
I'm DVR both. I don't like commercials. I'm like,
Well, I got nothing to do on Wednesday anyway, so I'll be home watching it. So, we'll let you guys know what happened next week, and we'll play it out. All right, so right now, the countdown to AEW's Dynamite, it still goes on, so we're like 5 days away. Now, Nico, you may have heard this or not, or I might have told you.
Mm-hmm.
Warner Media and the GM for TNT are considering of having a second weekly show. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think it should be a Saturday morning spot if the crowd's into that still, or a Saturday or like a Sunday night heat kind of thing, or a Saturday primetime spot. Like I'm thinking like something like that it'd be good, you know.
Yeah, when I start hearing this, I saw this like after the announcement, this whole thing was being spread around.
Yes.
The other wrestling news group, this Square Circle Psychobabble, one of the hosts made one valid point that I agree on. There is speculations that we may not see a lot of the wrestlers they signed, but he did say something that he probably may agree with me, agree with him, that they can use this as a way to continue the building stories.
Well, yeah,
You know,
obviously.
like, because here's the thing. Let's say we're not going to see Sadie Gibbs or Michael Nagasawa this 1 week, but they can still show up at the second weekly show. You know, they can still continue whatever they're building up for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel this is a good tool for them to use because you got to remember, WWE always had all the wrestlers there, but there's those that are not doing nothing. They're just sitting there or whatever.
Right.
And they're not giving them the break, okay, just go home, we're not going to use you for the night. You know? So these guys they could use that as a way of saying, hey, can you show up for this particular show? You know, if you're available, that type of thing. But I feel like they could use that, but there's still no word if Tony Khan is up for it, you know what I mean? I mean, if I was Tony Khan, it's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my opinion.
Well, he might be playing it safe and like wants to see how the first show works.
You know, I say give it a year.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Give AEW Dynamite a year, see how it goes. If it goes perfectly, then maybe he could be coming to a discussion with Warner Media and TNT saying, yes, okay, let's jump in with having a second weekly show.
Right.
You know, because here's the thing. We still got to get used to how the feeling and the vibe of AEW Dynamite when it first comes out. And we still got to get used to it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if things go well for them, then maybe there is a chance of a second weekly show. Because remember, like during the time of the Monday Night Wars, we didn't have that for a while until WCW did Thunder. You know, if you remember, then SmackDown, and then for WWE, that's how it was.
Like, what do you mean?
Okay, if you remember, long time ago, they didn't have like a second weekly show for quite some time.
Yeah, they had Sunday Night Heat. They had Superstars.
Yeah, but they there were those that didn't consider like that to continue on. You know, but they kind of considered SmackDown to do that. You know, when it first came out. But we'll just gotta wait and see how it goes. You know, for it once Tony Khan makes his decision, because you gotta remember he's the one who makes the final say. Now, like I said, we're 5 days away from AEW's first show, AEW's Dynamite. So, they already announced the matches for this day. We got Cody versus Sammy Guevara.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla Rose versus Rio, which is determination who will be the first ever AEW's women's champion.
Oh, yeah.
We got the Elite, Omega and the Bucks versus Jericho and two mystery partners.
Marty and Flip.
I'm still speculating right now. There is another possibility for those two mystery partners. It just came to me the moment after All Out.
Oh.
My money is probably thinking Proud and Powerful, or should I say former LAX members Santana and Ortiz.
Oh.
That's my speculation.
That makes more sense. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And then there's, of course, the match it was originally supposed to happen in Double or Nothing, but didn't happen. Hangman Page versus Pac.
All that's going to be on the same night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I might have to retract my first statement about just DVR. I might have to watch that live.
And then, of course, MJF versus Brandon Cutler.
There you go.
So I have to say they're pretty good matches they're going to have for this one because thing is this, like, we're looking at Cody who's facing with a young up-and-comer wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I watch his vlogs all the time.
Yes.
And then we got Nyla Rose. I'm not too familiarized with her or with Rio, but I can't see that they're rising up, you know.
Mm.
And to be honest with
Classic
you,
David and Goliath match right there.
and to be honest with all of you, I find Rio really cute.
Oh, yeah, she's fire.
Yeah, and then of course that 6-man tag team match between the Elite and Jericho versus Jericho and the 2 mystery partners. Like I said, I'm still speculating Santana and Ortiz, you know, because they just made a statement right after the Bucks' match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's that, and then of course we got the match that should have happened: Hangman Page and Pac.
Oh yeah.
You know, what I mean, if you guys don't recall
That's
that
the main
one,
event right there.
if you don't recall that match, there was a huge disagreement between Pac and the EVPs because of the creative difference.
His title reign in Noah.
No, Dragon Gate.
Oh yeah, in Dragon Gate. His title reign in Dragon Gate conflicted him losing to Hangman Page.
He didn't want to be conflicted with that because he was the champion. He won that title late last year.
Well, not just that, but he's being billed as an unstoppable force with that title.
Yeah. Well, he lost that title not too long ago against a former member of the stable faction in Dragon Gate he was in called RED, Ben K. But now that he's no longer the champion, it's like, okay, he's finally back. And what led to this to reignite this match again? If you saw I don't know if you saw the post match of All Out, Hangman Page was giving his thoughts about what happened when he lost to Jericho, and here comes Pac, try to rattle him again, and that kind of led to it. You know, I think it's like more like they're saying we got unfinished business,
right?
You know, with them. So it's like, okay, you know, I'm digging it. They finally going to give us the match we asked for the first time.
Okay.
So that I feel happy with it. But and then the final one, MJF versus Brandon Cutler, that's going to be a great one. You look at MJF, who's the bully, and of course we all know who's his best friend, Cody. And then you look at Brandon Cutler, who people say he's a true inspirational, that he made people cry in that Being the Elite episode. And of course he is close friends with the Bucks. So this is like an interesting story that we're seeing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this coming Wednesday. I mean, I'm definitely not going to miss it.
Yeah. It will be something to behold.
So we'll give you guys our thoughts when we get to that day, and then we'll put it on the upcoming episode for that. So stand by for that episode, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. We're now in your favorite subject. New Japan Pro Wrestling. We finally finished with Destruction, landed in Kobe. Now, there were some interesting things that happened.
Loads.
Yeah, and let's talk to the one that kind of shocked us a week before. Yo pinned Tama Tonga, meaning he pinned a heavyweight. Tama Tonga and his brother Tonga are the Gorillas of Destiny, the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. What were your thoughts the first time you saw that?
The first time I saw that, I was excited for Yo, because, like, for me, like, Sho and Yo, I've been I've been following their matches ever since they became what's it called? They went from young boys to main roster. So like I've been like kind of following them with like the whole thing with them with the Bucks and all that stuff. And I think it's a really good moment. Like even though we all know it's a work, I liked his reaction to pinning Tama, because he was like, yeah, I did it, like, and he was like kicking his feet, he was like all stoked, and just like he sold the shit out of that whole like thing, and then he does it again in Kobe with Tongaloa, so that way to ensure like this isn't just a fluke, like he can hang with the heavyweights.
Yeah, I mean, there's that old saying, you got lucky once.
Mm-hmm.
Second time, I don't know what you say, but it's more like, okay, it's not a fluke.
Right.
It's a statement. And there's like another saying, fool me once,
Mm-hmm.
shame on me. No, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So that means if they get it a third time, then
Mm-hmm.
is legit right there. You know, I'm like, I saw the reaction on Yo. Like, I think for many people who don't understand that the weight class in New Japan,
Yes.
it's not that, it's like, it's a bit difficult to try to pin a heavyweight,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow Yo was able to capitalize.
Oh yeah.
You know, because here's the thing, we've seen the Bucks have been trying to jump from junior tag
Mm-hmm.
to heavyweights, and of course they allowed them for this.
Oh yeah.
And this happened last year at Dominion when they beat, who was it? The Guerrillas of Destiny?
Yeah.
No, it was LIJ, Evil and Sonata. They were the tag team champs at that time.
For Bucks versus Evil and Sonata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see GOD regain the titles, but now we're seeing, like, we don't know if they're going to allow them, both Roppongi and 3K, to make the jump to heavyweight. Because I do see, like, they have made great headways throughout this year, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention, if you saw that story when they lost the IWGP Junior Tags to Bullet Club, Phantasmo and Ishimura,
Mm-hmm.
they felt like they were a bit lost on this. Like, they were like, felt like we lost.
Like they fell flat.
Yeah, and Taguchi came out of nowhere, tried to lift up their spirits, like saying, you know, it's not over yet.
No, not
You know,
even.
you still got enough in you to continue.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if Rocky's going to do, like, swapped teams, like saying, look, Taguchi.
No,
want you to-
They're going to be co-coaches.
Yeah, but
You
the thing
didn't-
is, but here's the thing. You can tell Taguchi is more motivated,
Oh yeah.
saying he can get these guys to continue on with, like the story saying, you guys can do this.
Yeah.
Just, you have,
The alliance between Taguchi Japan and Chaos has been in motion ever since the whole Gato Jay White thing. So I could see there being a Taguchi 3K.
we'll see how that goes. That's between both coaches.
Right.
Between Rocky and Taguchi, how they're going to play it out. Because I know they're both in agreements. You know,
Oh, yeah.
They're always in good terms. They always call out the plays.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you look at Taguchi, he's the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Rocky, he's the field coach.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Yo and Sho, the players. And whoever Taguchi's players are,
That's right.
he picks them. But if they're going to go with the story about saying, okay, these guys are ready to go jump the heavyweights,
Oh yeah.
they got to do a lot of work.
Oh, most definitely. Kind of like with Shingo Takagi
Oh, yeah.
when he made the jump. He started off with Kojima, and
Oh, yeah.
then Gato.
Yeah. And then, of course, one of the craziest
I mean, not
things
Gato,
happened-
Goto.
Yeah.
Goto. I
Now-
misspoke.
yeah, and now, one of the craziest things in one of the matches
Mm-hmm.
is Yoshin Thunder Liger.
Oh shit.
Basically, what happened the week before, Suzuki removed his mask,
Mm-hmm.
which is a sign of disrespect if you guys don't follow
Oh, yeah.
that type of culture.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't happen just in Japan or Mexico. It happens in every story. Now,
Mhm.
out of nowhere, we see the Liger attack Suzuki right from behind, which is a move that we know Suzuki would do.
Mm-hmm.
So Liger decided, I'm going to take a playbook out of you, which he did. Now, in the ring, people were shocked about what Liger did.
Yes.
You see, we saw that Suzuki was about to take off the mask again.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave him the low blow. And the shocking part, he took off the mask himself, revealing his dark, evil side. Christian Liger. Now, for all you viewers don't know who this person is, Liger has an evil side.
Oh, yeah.
Only appeared on rare occasions. First time was back in the 90s when he was facing the Great Muta.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what was the other days, but he has appeared. Now, this
We'll have to
time...
look that up as well.
Yeah, but from what I understand, this past Destruction in Kobe, this was the fourth appearance of Christian Liger. You see, Christian gave Suzuki the poison mist on his face.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing to the ref.
Mm-hmm.
And he picked up one of those spike things. He was
Oh,
about to
yeah.
take off Suzuki's head off with it. And he went right through the table.
Through the table.
And then he picks up the table with the spike and tosses it right in front of Suzuki, and he ran.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still running. Now, you look at Tiger Mask and Rocky, they're like, what just happened? Like, they were, like, confused about what they just witnessed. And then, of course, Christian Liger was still chasing Suzuki, and Suzuki was running for his life.
If you were ever wondering what it takes to make Minoru Suzuki run, it takes a goddamn demon.
Not to mention, Suzuki asked for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted it. The reason I say that, they had this thing in New Japan where they have like the post-match interview.
Mm-hmm.
Suzuki made it back, and out of nowhere, Christian Liger attacked them still. And of course, Suzuki had that sadistic laugh of his. Like he wanted this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's part of the story, but there's an old saying, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So, this could, because we do know recently that Yoshin Thunder Liger this will be his last year.
Oh, yes.
And I'm thinking, is this Suzuki-gun try to make sure he ended with a bang by
most
bringing
definitely.
out the demon side of him? If he did, well, Suzuki, good luck. Because, like I said, be careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let's see. We did see something prior before these matches. They had the Young Lion Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who won it?
Carl Fredrickson.
I'm not surprised. He's of course, with my biased commentary, I wanted Shooter to win.
Of course.
But it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But I could see what they're seeing in Fredrickson. He impressed me with a really nice power slam. I'm a big fan of a clean power slam being executed. So I will judge you on your power slam, and his power slam looks like goddamn nice.
So after the Young Lion Cup, Ren Narita asked Shibata, who's head of the LA Dojo, that if he can join him.
Oh, that's right. He did.
And of course, Shibata granted him permission.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Ren Narita is leaving Japan to go to LA
Mm-hmm.
to train with Shibata. You know. And of course, Shooter, we did find out later that he's on excursion to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I did ask you this question, like when this whole thing when Ren Narita going to LA. Do you think that there's like different training methods between the New Japan dojos? Like we know there's one in Japan, LA, and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
You think there's different training methods? Whoever's instructing these.
Different, just a little bit. It's they're all underneath the same with the New Japan dojo. The basics, the whole rhetoric and how they do things. But with the different head coaches involved, that's where it's different. It's kind of like if you were, say, like with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whether you go to depends on who you're training with.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna learn, like, say with a Gracie dojo and a 10th Planet dojo, you're gonna get a different thing, but the same. Whereas at a Gracie dojo, you'll get more of the traditional Gracie with the with the gi, to whereas at 10th Planet they're more with the no gi Eddie Bravo style of jiu-jitsu. Both the same, but their own different styles. So it's all like this stuff. Fale Dojo, LA Dojo, New Japan Dojo. It's all strong style Japanese wrestling, but with their head coach's twist on it.
So, but all we can do is say good luck to Ren Narita and Shooter where they're going. Now, the final thing I want to talk about this guy beat Tetsuya Naito
This guy
for the IC title.
So I love that match because, as everyone already knows, I'm a big Naito fan. I'm also a big Jay White fan, but I'm a bigger fan of good rivalries. The storyline behind it, them getting at each other, just the whole thing with them, like just like getting inside each other's head, and like just like the fake pleasantries, like, here, I'll hold the ropes for you. Oh, no, I'll hold the, here, hold my belt. Like the whole thing was done beautifully.
Yeah. Don't forget, the reason they had this match was because of this, how this all started. Ever since Tetsuya Naito won the IC title,
Yes.
he made a statement that he wants to be the first wrestler in New Japan to carry both the IC title
Right.
and the heavyweight title.
Right.
And that kind of opened the doors for those that are saying, I want that. Because they know, it's kind of like, if you ever followed Impact Wrestling back in the day,
Nah.
they had this thing where they had with the X Division. If you, by any chance, won the X Division, you have the right for option C to face the World Heavyweight Champion. So I don't know if they're going with that kind of a story, you know. But instead of like handing the title, you keep it,
Right.
you know. So it's kind of like the story they're saying, I'm gonna do this, and then you guy was like, if you're gonna do it, I want it too. So they're going with that story as well.
Okay.
So that kind of led to the rivalry that I like about, because, like I said, Tetsuya opened his mouth and he let the door open. But we'll just gotta wait and see, because I know Tetsuya wants to do whatever it takes to be the first.
Oh, yeah.
But Jay White, he's like the kind of guy that's like, no, I want it, I need to have it. That type of story.
There we go.
So, but we do know right now for New Japan, we're jumping in with Fighting Spirit Unleashed here in the U.S. starting this week, I think.
This Sunday, and it's I'm surprised by if you look at the New Japan World website, it's not video on demand only. It's actually going to be showing it live. So we're actually going to see it live on time and not live at 2 in the morning.
So, we'll keep an update on that for the Fighting Spirit Unleashed. So, let's continue with the episode. Now, in a previous episode, I talked about Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Now, they have this thing, which is like their annual tournament or so. And of course, I heard that this is one of their biggest events they have in LA.
Right.
Called the Battle for Los Angeles. Don't get confused with the movie. So, they have that. And they have actually had 30 contenders, from what I understood. Now, I mentioned them before.
Oh, wait, it's Battle of Los Angeles. Bola.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Battle of Los Angeles. Okay. Now, here's what happened in the first night. I did not witness it, but I did hear. Joey Janela defeated Mick Moretti. Jake Atlas defeated Jungle Boy. Ray Phoenix over Aramis. Penta Cero M over Tony Dippin, if I pronounce it right. David Starr over the Sloth, Orange Cassidy.
As you should.
Bandito over Puma King. Keep in mind, Puma King was added later because Laredo Kid got hurt. A-Kid over Lucky Kid. He was not so lucky.
No kidding.
But yeah, Brody King over Caveman Ugg.
Okay.
Weird name. Dragon Lee over Ray Horace.
Mm.
Darby Allin over Black Taurus.
Okay.
Jonathan Gresham over Artemis Spencer.
Mm.
And Jeff Cobb over Daisuke Sekimoto. So those were for the first night. And this took place last Friday. Now, second night was this past Saturday for night 2. Dragon Lee over Jake Atlas. Bandito over Brody King. But just to let you know, he won because he got the favor from somebody. And that person is Aubrey Edwards. Brody got into in her face. Big mistake.
Oh, Aubrey Edwards, she's a referee at PWG?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Oh.
they called her up.
Okay. So, okay.
Jonathan Gresham over A-Kid. Joey Janela over Ray Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Darby Allin.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Darby Allin over Penta Cero M.
Mm-hmm.
And
wait, what?
yeah, Darby Allin beat Penta. I was like, what?
Well, I get it because there's like, okay, so that makes sense because of the whole thing with the Darby Allin's getting a really big push this year, hence the was a double count out with Cody.
Yeah. Then we got finally David Starr over Jeff Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
Now the final night. Now keep in mind the third night. They have the last remaining 3 matches. And then on the same night, they have a triple threat who wins Battle of Los Angeles. Now, here's the results for that. Night 3. Jonathan Gresham over Joey Janela. Bandito over Dragon Lee.
Ooh, I wish I could have saw that match.
Yeah. I know they will have it on DVD. I'll see if I can get it.
Oh, hell yeah.
David Starr over Darby Allin. Now, Gresham, Bandito, David Starr, all 3 are in the same match, the final match on the night 3. And the winner of Battle of Los Angeles is Bandito. I'm happy Bandito won.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I met the guy like this year. Great wrestler. I love his work, And I have a photo of him, actually. Yeah. But last year, from what I understood, he was so close of winning last year. But now, he actually won it. I mean, what do you think?
I like it. It makes sense being in like a triple threat with the Jonathan. Whatever happened to Jonathan Gresham? Is he still ROH?
He's still ROH, yeah.
Okay.
From what I understood. And
David Starr, don't know much about that, except I heard his name thrown out here.
Yeah, I know I heard his name too from various independent.
Mostly positive. I'll tell you guys that. Mostly positive. I haven't really heard any negative, silly shit about him. But yeah, there's a.
So if you guys are asking how can we watch this, well, let's just say that there's sort of like strict rules run by the owner, Super Dragon. Because he's very strict. Don't ask me why. I wish I can ask him in person to find out why, because I would like to hear his side of the story on this. But from what I can tell, he's very strict. And of course, he never allowed anybody who's willing to glamorize Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. From what I understood. But there is a way to see, how can you see the 3 nights? From what I understood, there's DVDs that will be sold on the wrestling high spots.
Oh, okay.
So from what I understood, that's where it is. I'm gonna wait until they posted it saying it's already up for sale.
Yes.
So because I really gotta see this one because it has interesting competitors that participated in this one. So if you guys are interested, you guys know. But for now, let's just continue on with the episode.
Bang bang.
All right, Nico, let's talk about this match.
I watched it.
What do you think?
It was hard. It was hard for me to actually believe because all right, with Like, let's just totally take out my whole disdain with Michael Nakazawa. Take that out. This mixed match with involving Yuka Sakazaki and Rio with Kenny and Michael on their respective sides. I feel like Kenny's just Kenny being in that match either made the girls look weak or him look weak, or the girls just not look believable, because like the whole time I'm watching, I'm just like, this should be a squash match, because Kenny could like really out wrestle all three of them. And like just like I don't know, like I wasn't sold on the match with like just like not necessarily on Kenny's star power, just like his sheer physique, and whenever the girls went for a double stop, I thought it was adorable. Like I didn't think it was like oh shit, a double stop. I thought it was the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like,
well, you got to remember this. It's like we don't know how long it's been for Rio and Kenny since they teamed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we do know they have teamed up before from years ago.
Yeah.
Which because we were aware of their relationship when he was in Japan, and Kenny, of course, himself said that he's a big fan of the Yoshi style.
Yeah.
You know, but I did mention this to you before the start of the episode, that Kenny has been helping Rio to train.
Most definitely.
Because you and I have been aware that Rio is going to have an important match next week, this coming Wednesday, for the AEW Women's title. So I think right now for Rio, she mentioned this on an interview for the Road to AEW on TNT, that she felt grateful that Kenny decided to help her out and they team up together.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kenny knows how important this is for her. He was the one who brought her to AEW. And I think Rio felt that at least she has someone she can count on.
Okay.
You know, and I think this match that they have is more like not like a warm-up, but more like, okay, you got to get yourself in shape. You know, you're facing against a much bigger opponent. And I think he was trying to tell her, visualize Michael Nakazawa that he's Nyla Rose. You know what I mean?
Okay. And then one thing that I didn't like from a producer's point of view was I didn't like how the director of cameras was missing spots. Like there was spots where the hard cam, it should have been on the hard cam, and there was spots where it should have been on the ringside cam. And like I feel like whoever was directing all the cameras has never seen a Kenny Omega match, never seen a Rio match, and didn't know where to be on their high spots.
Yeah, there is a factor we can explain that, in my personal opinion. When was the last time Taiwan, since this event took place in Taiwan, had a wrestling match? Now, I'm going to ask myself this. I know possibly there is a chance that Taiwan has seen wrestling. But, like you said, as a producer point of view, I don't think none of these guys ever had a wrestling events in their country.
Okay.
And I feel like that would make sense. Because this was their first time being there.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is this. You look at AEW and OWE. We got two powerful promotions from two different continents. You got AEW, a U.S. promotion. You got OWE, a Chinese promotion. You know, these are two mega promotions in their own countries. You know, Taiwan, I feel like they don't have like the necessary, you know, juggernaut that these guys have.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like they're not yet in the same level.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? But
like, I do like intergender matches. Like, for example, here's a really good intergender match involved what's it called? Kenny Omega and Asuka, back then known as Akana. That was a good intergender match right there. Where they're on the same team, like, because it's believable. Like, it's Asuka. Like, she's unstoppable. Well, she's one of the, in my opinion, unstoppable forces.
Yeah.
That's being misbooked right now.
Yeah, I mean, I did like some parts. I mean, you can call Michael Nagasawa whatever you want. It's so funny that he had his hands inside his trunks.
He's a good comedy wrestler. I like that. I like that. I like to see him at an angle with Orange Cassidy.
But one thing that's so funny is when
like
Rio and Kenny did not want to shake his hand because they know where his hands were at, and then you see Yuka shaking his hand, and you look at the reaction from Rio and Kenny like, ew, that is so disgusting. So I think it was so funny. Like you look at one team, they're like, oh hell no, and then you're like, what? They're looking at you, go, what are you doing? Don't you understand where he had his hands at?
One of my favorite spots of that whole match, because it went with the continuity, was Rio slipping out of Michael's whatever the fuck he was doing because he oiled his goddamn self up.
Of course, I mean, I remember how he always just like, yeah. It's so funny.
The little bit where she slips right out of it, I think it was a hold or a pin, but she slipped right out and basically has to pay for. He reaps what he sows.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really interesting match to watch. I mean, this is their first time being in Taiwan, and I'm assuming that, how do I say, they made a good impression to the fans down there.
It was alright. Like, I hope it wasn't the main event. Like,
nah, I probably wouldn't picture that as the main event. Maybe I would say maybe mid-card or semi-final, I don't know.
You'd need a palate cleanser after that.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if AEW decides they wanted to have a show there.
Okay.
You know, because I don't see WWE doing a show down there anyway.
Nah.
But I can see AEW doing that because you look at Kenny, he seems like the kind of guy who's willing to check out the vibe from different countries. Don't forget, he lived in Japan for 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know, and he has a strong connection with there. And then you got OWE. They actually had some connections with certain countries in the Asian world, you know, like Singapore and Taiwan. And I'm wondering what other places they do have a connection with.
Right.
And Rio, on the other hand, I do know she has a connection with Emi Sakura, who runs a promotion down in Thailand, which is called Gato Move Pro Wrestling, from what I understood.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do see AEW trying to make some headways in the Asian world. You know, if they decide to explore these other Asian countries. You know, but Japan, that's a different story. We can talk about later. You know, so that's it for what we got for this episode. So if you guys want to leave a comment down below, go ahead, click like or subscribe to us. If you do like what we talked about, don't hesitate to leave anything out. So on behalf of Deleted WrestleZone, I'm J-Rod.
Nico.
So, we must bid all of you adieu, so goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.